Now, a lot of people say that at the epicenter of crowd madness has been Portland, Oregon, which I believe is where you live.
It sure
Um,
is.
I want to give a little bit of a shout out as well because it was on the Dark Horse podcast, which is a phenomenal podcast if anyone hasn't checked it out yet. I think it was when you were speaking with Douglas Murray, and Douglas described Portland as a third world city. Why do you think he described it as a third world city?
It's a great question. I don't know exactly. I certainly know what he's responding to. We have,
Mm,
for example, a massive homelessness problem that is just absolutely unignorable. Now, there are lots of parts of the city where you don't see it, but if you go anywhere near downtown or the industrial centers, and indeed in many of the neighborhoods in the flatlands of Portland, you do see it everywhere. So that does suggest something about the squalor one often sees in the developing world outside of major metropolitan areas and inside them as well. There is also a kind of banana republic aspect to our governance, that we have a mayor who refuses to enforce the law. Even the day of Joe Biden's inauguration, we had Antifa smashing in the windows of the local Democratic Party headquarters with banners that say things like, "We are ungovernable." These people are simply announcing that they have no intention of abiding by the law, that the entire idea that they were responding to Trump was nonsense from the beginning. And yet we don't see the crackdown that is necessary just simply to restore the rule of law so that businesses can proceed, so that people can, so that there's an economic base here in Portland. So that failure of governance is suggestive of things people see in the developing world. And I'm stuck a little bit with Douglas's comparison because it's not exact. I don't have the sense in Portland that it feels like a third world country. On the other hand, I know from having been in many foreign capitals that meet that description, that oftentimes they are surprising in many ways. So it's possible he just his comparison is simply apt, and we ought to heed it. And I think, as I said to him on the podcast, there's something special about having had a Brit come over during COVID and be properly shocked by the state of things, because, of course, you get used to what's around you, and to have a visitor look at this and grasp for proper comparisons was alarming.
yeah.